What's up, everyone? Thomas here with ForReel Movie News and Reviews, and I am joined once again by good friends Taylor Baker from Drinking the Movies in Seattle and Mathew Simpson from Awesome Friday here in Vancouver, and we are wrapping up the Vancouver International Film Festival. So, I had a great time. I think we all kind of had a great time being back in theaters for film festival selections and really good content and storytelling and filmmaking. So
that is correct.
Yeah, that's an
accurate assessment of what occurred.
That is, I know that we did a lot of driving to go back and forth between here and Washington just to experience the festival, but certainly a worthwhile sacrifice.
We are thoroughly fatigued. Matt is not. Matt had a short drive.
Yeah, I mean, living here is better. I don't know why you guys just don't get like a hotel room. Like, plan out a couple of days and just stay.
That was, we thought about it.
We did. The issue being the COVID testing protocol to cross the border, and then work schedules, not being clear about like early enough ahead of time exactly what the windows were for films and which days we'd want to prioritize.
Which is fair. There was a lot of like back and forth.
If we had a 6-month window ahead of time, like you could definitely catch Memoria and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and one day it's like okay, we're gonna go.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, not enough time.
Next time we'll try to plan a little bit better, but no, it was a good time. I figure we can wrap up by talking about some of our favorite films. Maybe if we have like a top 3, we can go through. You got that? You got that?
I'll surreptitiously double check that.
I guess I have to think about my top 3 too. So we just
Thomas's favorite film of the Vancouver International Film Festival is a film called Flee.
It's a shocker. If anyone's watched any of these videos in the last
I can't wait for 2022 when you're not talking about Flee.
I will still be like, guys, the best movie of 2022 was the best movie of 2021. Which was Flee. I'm actually kind of sad I wasn't able to watch it in theaters, but we had a lot to get to and not a whole lot of time. But so let's start with Mathew. Let's start with your third favorite film of the festival.
I will go, that's a tough choice actually. I know what my favorite one is. My number 2 and number 3 are kind of in flux, but I'm going to exempt Flee because I'm assuming you're going to talk about it. So
I won't talk about Flee. It's like honorably mentioned in almost every film that every video that I've done so far. So right. I just kind of throw it in there, make sure that people know that that's a movie, it exists, and you should probably watch it.
I try to make sure that instead of that, they watch All Light Everywhere from Theo Anthony.
Documentaries this year, yeah.
So I'll actually go with the new Terrence Davies movie, which is called Benediction, which is about the life of the famed World War I poet Siegfried Sassoon, which is a delightfully acted period piece. Feels very stagey, very much like a play, very much a very long and sad life for a man. And it's an interesting film to me because it's mostly stoic British people being cruel to one another in rooms. But that really worked for me this time. I don't know exactly why. But
there's a lot of latent repression that Davies is taking out of himself and putting into the film. Yeah,
for sure. I think, as I understand it, and I'm not 100% up on his filmography, but as I understand it, this is actually one of his first very explicitly like LGBTQ works. And there's a lot of like pent up feeling, I feel, in the movie from him, for sure. Yes. But also everyone who's in it is great. It's beautifully shot, and it made me feel things, and therefore I liked it.
Yeah. It's very texturous. It's got like a fabric quality to it. It's like a film that you can describe like the feelings of at different points in it. And that harsh lighting and like where it gets really, where it's not very happy.
It's never very happy.
It's very right, but like it looks sumptuous in the church. But like when he is abstaining from going to war, the lighting change there and like the harshness that it has like really affects the viewer.
Yeah, and just every interaction with anyone who is at all sympathetic to him, I felt was really nice. Like when especially all the sessions at the beginning with Ben Daniels were all kind of wonderful. And I also really appreciated there's a few times where they used some special effects to excellent effect. In particular, the first time when they morph from the younger actor whose name has escaped my brain to Peter Capaldi in one sort of continuous revolving shot.
It
was very gorgeous.
That was a phenomenal shot. I talked about that with the director of photography, Nicola Daly, in an interview. She kind of explained how they had to get that shot, and it's so well orchestrated, like how the precision that's needed to make that shot happen. Any other thoughts about that one?
It's excellent.
It is. It's a good one. We were able to watch it at TIFF, and so happy that Vancouver got it and that you were able to see it here. Baker, your number 3 film.
My number 3 film, not my number 1. Okay.
Not your number 1. We're going to go in reverse order. We're going
to a beautiful film from Mia Hansen-Løve called Bergman Island, which stars Tim Roth and Vicky Krieps with a large supporting role by Mia Wasikowska. And it is a delightful film that references the corpus of the work of Ingmar Bergman in a totally sincere way for Hansen-Løve to herself tell her own story, using the same crux of Bergman, but it's in no way a Bergman film. It's like Bergman's body is the soil that this flower of a film is growing in. It's very, very moving, especially if you have a history with Bergman.
Yeah, that's an excellent metaphor. Excellent metaphor. I didn't like it as much as you do, but I did really like this film. I really liked Wasikowska and also the Dutch guy, Anders Lee, I think is his name.
Anders Danielson Lee, according to my handy dandy letterbox.
Yeah, I thought he in the supporting role as the boyfriend character of Wasikowska, I thought he was
super convincing,
super excellent, super sincere, and every time it needed him to be slightly more aggressive, he was, and every time it needed him to be a wounded puppy dog, he was basically perfect.
Yeah, he was balancing that knife's edge.
Yeah, he was really, really good.
Yeah, I appreciate that you guys appreciated Bergman Island. I don't think I can contribute a whole lot to the conversation about this because I don't have a whole lot of experience with Bergman's work, and so there is a lot about this film that just didn't resonate with me and that I didn't connect with. Not to say that's not synonymous with the fact, the idea that I thought it was a bad movie. I thought it was very well done from a filmmaking perspective, but so much of the value of this film seems to come from having some kind of understanding of Bergman's work or some kind of connection to Bergman's work.
There are literal inside jokes.
Yeah, and
if you don't get them, you don't get them.
To be fair, I have very little experience with Bergman's work, and I still liked it a lot, just based on the way that the two narratives in the film were layered together, and then also having some understanding of Hansen-Løve's personal journey and how that was layered into the 2 layers of the film.
Right.
Yes.
This movie's basically Inception, if you think
It's
about
Inception.
it.
I was so Beaumont's not here, but I
not,
sent him a GIF on Twitter when we were talking about this, as we were trying to suss out what was true or not within the film. I sent him the Joseph Gordon-Levitt Inception GIF where you're running on walls to Florida walls, because it's like, what are we trying to find? Right, and then Vicky's name is Vicky, right? And then Chris, right, is Tim Roth's character's name. And then
Isn't it
they're on Faro. So Vicky Krieps, his name is Chris. But Chris's real name is the actress Vicky.
Yeah.
And then Tim Roth's character's name is Chris. And then they're on Faro. And I was like, there's a thing happening here, I swear to God. There's Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and then there's Vicky Chris Faro. What the fuck is happening?
I put it together till just
I had no idea. But again, I think that there's a lot to appreciate about this movie, with or without experience, with the source material here. But
I mean, if nothing else, it's another one that's just beautiful to look at.
It is.
Faro is a gorgeous place. And it turns out if you point a camera at it, you'll get some gorgeous shots.
I'd love to attend a film festival there and just stay in those rooms and get some writing done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Just exist in that place would be amazing.
What is your third favorite film of the festival, Thomas?
You know what? My third favorite film from the festival that I'm going to list here is the one we actually just got out of, Official Competition.
You were by far the loudest laugher in that entire theater.
You know, I have a feeling that my husband would agree with you if he were there. He comments on my laughing audibility.
I think it was the first time I've seen.
It was hilarious.
The Thomas chuckle fit. You could not help yourself.
It was so funny.
The Thomas chuckle fit.
That's actually really great. That's a great way to brand it, because there are some things that are so funny that I just like kind of lose control of how I'm laughing, and I'm trying to restrain my laugh, it just gets worse.
Yeah, it gets a little bit booming, and it's really funny when other people are like smiling, but Thomas is like har-har-harring.
It was funny. There are some sequences in that movie
where Thomas was the solo laugher, but it was a pretty raucous crowd.
I mean, to be honest, it's kind of unfair that this is your second favorite movie, because it's my first
third favorite. This is my third favorite.
Yes, still my first.
It's your first, yeah.
We could just skip one of mine, I guess, because I also adored this movie. Mm-hmm. I thought it was hilarious from start to finish. I was saying to you earlier, actually, that I think I might have liked it even a little more if there's some pretty long gaps between some of the funny parts, which at certain times kind of dragged, and at other times really made the funnier parts funnier because they heightened the impact. But overall, like, everyone in it is amazing. I really enjoyed Antonio Banderas playing like the logical extension of himself.
Yes, that's exactly. I had to remember throughout the film, he's not playing Antonio Banderas. He actually has a character in this movie.
And I mean, Penelope Cruz is always great.
Fantastic, yeah.
And I really loved her. What's the right word? Very pedantic director she's playing in this film, who just like seems to enjoy torturing her performers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's where a lot of the comedy comes from, but also in how the performers tortured each other. It's just
there's no version of it that's not great.
It is.
My favorite thing is the end where they're being interviewed, where she just gets asked questions that she thinks are dumb.
Yeah.
It made me think of that Leosh Karak's meme that was going around, where they're like, "What does the color green mean to you, Leosh?" And he just responds, No.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Or the one time, I can't remember the question, because I saw it a few days ago, but someone asked her a question in that sequence, and she's like, "That's a stupid question," but she says it in a really long way.
Format.
She does.
Yeah. It's about the feminist quality statements of the film.
Yeah.
Right.
And she says that there aren't any, and that's a stupid proposition to begin with. And then she goes down this rabbit hole of how interpreting everything as ideology is useless, and every piece of art is its own piece of work that should be judged as a work. And
yeah.
I figured you appreciated that part, but the self-awareness of this film, like even when it comes to like the presence of awards, like accepting the award and then rejecting it, and then like throwing it in the compactor thing, and I thought that was.
I also just love that the Oscar Martinez's character Ivan, who is. The whole film, he's like, I'm in it for the art, I'm in it for the craft. But anytime he's alone, he's clearly just as vain as everyone else. Just as obsessed with appearance and awards and all that stuff as everyone else. And clearly jealous he hasn't really won as many as Antonio.
Yeah, clearly.
Yes.
Like, it's everything about the movie's great.
I'm really hopeful that Thomas will figure out a way to high quality stage these cameras to zoom in at the end of this video and just hold eye contact with that lens for an indeterminate amount of time.
Yes, that might be a reshoot. I might come back and like revisit that idea. That's funny. Yeah. Matt, number 2 for you.
So I'm sort of torn on this, but I think for the purposes of this video, I'm going to say that my second favorite movie in this festival has been Paris, Je t'aime, which I really enjoyed. Nice, almost anthology film about 3 young people living in an apartment block in Paris which the name of the French title of the film, Les Olympiades, is the apartment block that they live in and how their lives intersect. Another one shot in black and white, and there's been a couple of those in the festival. But the whole thing feels, it's all about people processing their trauma, and the whole thing feels very sincere, and I found it very touching, and the more I've thought about it since, the more I have enjoyed it, which is I always think is a good sign. Films that stick with me past the viewing time for days at a time are always ones that I'm going to end up talking about a lot, I think. It's difficult to talk about the plot too much without spoiling it, because it's all so weirdly interconnected, but also Noémie Merlant, who's obviously was in Jumbo last year and Portrait of a Lady on Fire the year before, is one of the main players in this, and she is wonderful in it. She manages to play this character who is probably has the most distinct arc in the film, and she needs to start from a really naive place and end up in a really self-actualized place, and she pulls it off magnificently, I thought. So it's worth seeing entirely for her.
You have thoughts about this one?
I do. I actually completely disagree with you on this one, Matt, and it's my second favorite film of this festival. So Jacques Audiard, who's the director, was a blind spot for me. So Mia Hansen-Løve was also a blind spot for me. So I've used this festival a lot as a taste test where I could of like, I want to try all these new directors, official competition, new directing duo for me. So this has been great in that aspect. But I mean, yeah, Paris moved me in a very deep way, and I kind of appreciate it and understand the structure of it more the more that I look at it. I don't know if you're aware, but it's based on 4 short stories from one writer, and just like putting together like how you would piece those together without having read them myself, I can see it, and that makes me appreciate the choices that they made more about how they had characters ebb and wane at certain times, but then our lead character, who is singing into that karaoke microphone at the beginning nude, she really goes through an entire catharsis where she becomes incredibly content in a certain way near the end. And it's just fascinating to watch that journey. The other thing that I thought was really stirring that Audiard did was those 2 distinct segments, which are the beginning, which I referenced, where she's nude on the couch, singing into a mechanical microphone, and then when we cut to Amber Sweet, and she is very visibly naked with a mechanical dildo in her hand. And it's like, these are 2 naked women with these mechanical things, like looking for meaning that isn't actually going to give them meaning at that point in time. And then their journey finding who's right for them. And obviously our main character at the beginning has a lot more time spent on her than Amber does, but there's just like this interesting sympathetic dichotomy that's happening over the runtime of the film. It's really there's a lot to continue to chew on with it.
Yeah, it's interesting with Amber Sweet's character, because she goes through an entire arc with effectively no screen time.
Yeah.
Especially as compared to everyone
definitely
else.
No solo screen time. Everyone else kind of has time to themselves, and you follow them as individuals as well as couples.
But she is the entire spirit of Noémie Merlant's character's experience in the film.
Yeah, for sure. But it's nice that she's developed enough that she does get her own beginning, middle, and end without just being a prop for someone else.
Yeah, that's true. I do echo like how beautiful this film is. Wonderfully shot, as you mentioned, black and white used to great effect here. So cinematographically,
that's not a word.
It's not a word. I made that up.
I say that word all the time, and I say it just like that. Cinematographically.
Right. Like it's a beautiful film to look at. I personally had wished it was more anthological. I'm just going to make up a whole bunch of words today.
That's okay. That's how English works.
That is, yeah. So I had hoped it would, because I didn't expect an anthology, but there's a point towards at the end of like the first act where it does fade to black, and you then switch to you switch acts, right? And I think at that point I'm like, man, this is an anthology. I would really like it if it was an anthology. But from there it then blends the stories and becomes one like.
Yeah, I like that more than anthologies personally. I see that argument though.
Yeah, so just personally speaking, I would have preferred it as a straight up anthology.
That's like why I liked Southbound, for instance.
It
was an anthology that wove itself into a cohesive mesh, whereas if it's just an anthology that doesn't do that, right? Like that's why, for me, like Shortcuts is a work of genius.
Yeah.
I disagree just because I think it works to mesh everything together, but if I have a problem with it, it would just be that the main, the only real male character in the movie, whose name escapes me again.
Camille?
Right?
Yeah.
No, Camille.
Camille. There's Emily. What's her?
Yeah, Emily and Camille.
And Camille, yeah.
Camille, anyway. I felt that his character I felt they could have investigated his character a little more deeply, basically. Not that he didn't get a complete arc, but just that he probably got the shallowest of the 3 main arcs, I would say. And I kind of wish he had a little bit more, because he definitely gets a moment of catharsis towards the end, and some realization towards the end. But
I don't think he was interrogating himself in that way, though. Like, there's certain people in life don't interrogate themselves the way that some of the women in the film do, and I think that gives him space to just like be that person who is handling the grief of losing his mother by acting out with women in the way that he is. And then through no real internal investigation does he come to realize, like, just by living his life, he comes to a realization. And I prefer that rather than giving him the same sort of interiority. I see your argument and I thought about it. That's just where I stand on it. Yeah.
And I mean, ultimately, honestly, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle of those two things for me. Like, I don't think it needs to go terribly far with his character. I just wish it had just like a little more. Just like a little more.
A little more juice, yeah.
That's fair. So, Paris 13th District was your number 2?
That's correct.
Cool.
What is your number 2 film of the Vancouver International Film Festival 2021 edition, Thomas Stoneham-Judge?
Yes, Belfast. I really, really liked Belfast. I actually really had no idea what to expect going into it. It actually caught me off guard when it opened.
Quick question, did you have a good Sunday?
This Sunday happened to be a particularly good Sunday. This ended the festival very well for me. So
you're number 3 and 2. You just saw.
For reference, today's lineup for us was Belfast and Official Competition. And so I really scored big on today because those 2 movies really did it for me as far as entertainment value and as far as storytelling and artistic expression through film. And it's not that other films didn't have that. These I just resonated with. Today was a comedy day, and I don't think we could have put a better double feature together, in my opinion. You enjoyed Tuesday. Tuesday was your day, right? And I was not vibing on Tuesday. Tuesday we watched
Paris
13th District, Bergman Island, and Red Rocket, and I just didn't connect with any of those movies. Not in the way that you guys did. Again, this isn't me saying they were bad movies. It's just that I didn't personally connect with them in the way that I connected.
Did you hear that, Matt? He said these are all bad movies.
That's
what I heard.
That's what I heard.
Okay, great. Well,
obviously.
Interpret how you will. But
we're on the internet. There's no.
We are. I know. Yeah. So Sunday was a good day for me. My number 3 and number 2 came out of today.
99 out of 100. Oh, he hated it.
Yeah.
To be fair, my Sunday might turn out to be well, because I saw Official Competition a few days ago, but I saw Belfast today, and I'm actually a few minutes away from seeing Petite Maman.
Yes.
So I might be having a good day too.
Petite Maman is a good one, and I
do you like Miyazaki?
Yeah.
You're gonna love Petite Maman.
Yeah. Do people not like Miyazaki? Is that like
some people don't like love it, like they respect it, but they're not like really into magical realism animation.
Some people are wrong. I mean, that's.
Anyways,
so Belfast, it was so entertaining, so much more entertaining than I was expecting it to be. I guess, again, I didn't know what to expect, but I was bracing for something a little bit slower, and it wasn't. It was hilarious. It was funny and kept me engaged the whole time, especially, again, with the cinematography, black and white filmmaking.
With this one at least had splashes of color that I really appreciated as well. There's a couple of really gorgeous shots, too. Like, there's a shot when the main character Buddy is taken to a play by his grandmother, and the play's in color, and they're still black and white, but the reflection on her glasses is in color. I thought that was a gorgeous little detail.
See, and it's I was gonna like lean over and tell you about it, but then I felt like I was gonna be ruining the movie, like leaning over every time there was color.
I don't need to know that. So for this film, what it reminded me of is kind of my experience with Jojo Rabbit, where like I'm watching something that I'm really enjoying, and then I'm just flabbergasted by the quality of this child actor. Like it's just
absolutely
insane. Some of the long takes that Brana takes with this particularly young boy, where he's circling the camera is like high stakes extras acting, throwing explosives is occurring, and maybe they post-stitch that together, but it's just so effective. And the boy is so committed as the camera is circling him. He is not letting the camera interfere with his point of contact in his head. I'm incredibly impressed by it. It just says more about the quality of the other films that we've discussed that it's not on my list.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I will say I do have one criticism of Belfast, and that's that I think there should have been more of Jamie Dornan singing. Because I really enjoy when he sings.
Yes, it really went Cold War-ish there for a minute.
It did. That was very, like the black and white, the dancing. There's certainly a hint of Cold War there.
With the heartache, like, all around.
Yeah.
But also, Jamie Dornan is a great actor, but can we talk for a second about Catriona Balfe? Like, she's so good in this.
Yes.
And I feel like she's been... Wasted is the wrong word, but I certainly feel like she hasn't had a lot... She's been overlooked. She hasn't had a lot of roles that have really...
Kelly MacDonald.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah, same thing.
Overlooked.
But I feel like she's definitely had a couple of big roles in the last couple of years. She was good in Ford versus Ferrari last year, year before, I guess now.
Yeah, year before.
Jesus. But she's never really had a role that really, I think, played to her strengths in a way that this film very much so did. And this film has Oscar nominee written all over it. It's black and white.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I was trying to sell him to come up for it at all.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, it's probably gonna win. And it's definitely getting nominated for Best Picture.
And you know what?
It's like black and white and semi-autobiographical period set drama. Of course, it's going to get nominated.
And even watching it,
you mentioned Dame Judi Dench.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But even watching it,
is like one of his best performances, and I don't know how long.
Yeah. Even watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, put this up for an Oscar. Like, this is so good.
This is going to get nominated for all of the Oscars.
Yes, it will.
In every category that it's able.
Which is amazing because people are going to critically pan Death on the Nile. And
right.
I am totally fine with that.
That's right. Does that come out this year?
It comes out in March. So they're going to release it right after Bernal wins all his awards.
Oh, I see.
And market it with those awards.
That's fair. I really enjoyed his Murder on the Orient Express. So
I didn't, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, and I kind of didn't.
I tolerated it.
I love that he goes full cartoon with the character and seems to know that it's like a cheesy as fuck stage play.
But also like his direction is incredible in it. If you remember like the overhead shots of the train compartments.
Or just like the very long one
that
take.
I like about what he did is he put an Agatha Christie book in. I'm sure you noticed in Belfast. Then he put a Mighty Thor comic in, which I thought was pleasant. He's referencing his own filmography.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure.
I guess the thing about Belfast is you can also and the thing that will really cement it as an Oscar contender is that it feels, even if you had no idea who Kenneth Branagh is, the movie feels very personal. And the Academy eats that shit up.
Right.
So
Yep.
It's definitely going to hit. It won one of the awards at TIFF as well.
It won audience award for best film.
Right, and every film for the past decade that's won that at TIFF has gone on to be a Best Picture nominee. So, or I think the last 9 or 10 years, it's like a running thing now. So
it's very broad appeal, but it's also mature, and it speaks very eloquently.
Yep.
Yeah, and it manages to tackle some pretty deep subject matter whilst also being a pretty easy to watch feel-good movie.
Yeah, Thomas had some light chuckle fits.
I did, light chuckle fits. That one I didn't laugh as hard on, but I did. There was some laughing.
I heard you from Four Simpson.
You probably heard me from official competition, really. Wherever you were.
Those sirens?
I was several blocks away, and the answer is yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about our number ones, right?
We already talked about my number one.
So your number one was
official competition.
With official competition, that's right. It's a good one. So your number one?
DMC, not to be confused with Devil May Cry, the popular hack and slash franchise, but rather Drive My Car, an adaptation of Haruki Murakami's short story Drive My Car from... Boy, I am forgetting the name of this director.
And
I just wrote it down.
It starts with the R.
Ryusuke Hamagachi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess. I might be wrong.
I'm pretty sure the last name is Hamagachi.
But it's the way that he adapted the short story in collaboration with his co-writer, who's it is their first feature screenplay that they've ever worked on. Is really innovative because anyone that actually knows the text he's talking directly to because there's there's a birthmark on a significant character, and he immediately is like, no, that's a scar. Mm-hmm. Or like the car is supposed to be yellow, and I had leaned over and asked Thomas, and he's like, no, it's red.
It's red, yeah.
And I was like, oh, someone has glaucoma in their right eye, and this character gets it in their left eye. So like, but it's like he's talking directly to you. If you know the text. If you don't, you won't even notice it.
Interesting.
And it's really clever like that. And then he weaves in Chekhov's Uncle Vanya to undergird the entire project, and he extends it in a really interesting way where in the short story the man was alone, and in the film he's not alone for a significant amount of the runtime. And the relationship that's built up with the driver who is driving his car at one point, it's immaculate. It really, really, really works for me in a significant way. It is, as far as feature films that are actually released this year go, it is my number one.
Wow.
It's a very powerful film. I will say that I wanted to connect with it like that, and I can see how people are connecting with it in that way.
But you retired and it started at
8:45, 9 o'clock start time. After a long week, and we have to get back to Washington and come back up this morning, it was just not the right environment for me to be able to really connect with the film, because I was liking it. I was very much, I like it. It didn't have those lulls that sometimes 3-hour films can have, right? I was actually
not even a little.
No, like
It's
I was actively thinking in the movie, like what would I cut, what would I get rid of, what is seeming extraneous or bloated or but it never has any of that.
You couldn't understand the characters in the same way if you got rid of anything.
Right, exactly. So the 3-hour runtime is absolutely essential for this movie. So that's not a complaint for me, but it was the timing that it happened. I mean, so Taylor leans over to me 45 minutes in the movie and shows me exactly the same thing that I'm thinking as opening credits start rolling 45 minutes into the film.
Opening credits started 45 minutes?
45 minutes into the film.
So for the record, I didn't get to see this film.
Not 45 minutes from the start time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
45 minutes from when the film began.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's when the credits
we had the introduction that was 15.
Saying.
Right. So the introduction was 15 to 20 minutes, and then 45 minutes of runtime, and then the opening credits for the film started.
Huh.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It is very different in a very refreshing kind of way. Like, oh, you're putting those where you think they belong, not where convention tells you need to put them, right? Because there is an entire arc that happens in that first 45 minutes that is very nicely segmented by the opening credits. So
and you know how you liked in official competition the text subtext variable, like that is occurring here because not only is there a play happening that the main character is directing, which is Chekhov's Uncle Vanya, which this actor is now directing. There's the subtext of the story that it's based on, and then there's the story that his wife is telling him at different points in the story.
So what you're saying is that onions have layers and good movies have layers?
And good movies have layers.
Not all onions taste good, but this one does. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to make that quote the headline of this
video. Are we
video.
now going to reference back to the fact that we did not address that Antonio Banderas' Puss in Boots? Like,
oh, yeah, that's
right.
Shrek here.
I don't have time for that.
I know.
That's a long conversation.
Whole another conversation, another day.
Anyways, it's beautiful. It's fantastic. I have no idea if it releases in North America before the end of the year, and it will probably be a confirmed nomination for Best Picture. I don't know that it would win.
But would it win? I mean, we were kind of talking about this best foreign language film.
I don't think so because it's 3 hours.
Never stopped it before. It seems to me to be the kind of film to get an art house release and then maybe like an on-demand release before the end of the year, and not knowing anything about it.
Very limited. I could see that.
Yeah, but it was God, what's the Roman statue or Greek statue head company? Because it was acquired by a real production company.
What is that? Yeah, I'm not sure what the who acquired it or what the release is, but it is a good film. I want to revisit it at 1 in the afternoon.
And if you watch it, you should take the time to read the 30-minute short story that you can find for free as online PDF. Thomas, what is your favorite film of the Vancouver International Film Festival's 2021?
Y'all, I am so excited to say this. My favorite film of the festival was Memoria. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only one here that saw it.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a water break.
Or did you saw it? Oh, no, you went with me. Sorry, you went with me. No. I had to think, sorry. No, you're right. You went with me. Look, these days are blurring together, okay? I've seen all...
Wait, what's your name again?
Yeah. That's right. You did go see it with me. You didn't see it.
This is Matt from Awesome Friday. What was your name?
What was your name? So introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. That's right. Sorry, Matt. You did go with me to see Memoria. My favorite movie was Memoria.
That's great for you.
You love that
so
for me.
real quick. Memoria directed by who? We're set to cool.
We're set to cool. I had gotten it at one point, but it's a challenging one. Anyway, it's gorgeous. It is such it's a beautiful movie, and it's such a phenomenal experience. Here's the thing that I had to do with Memoria is I had to tolerate it in the moment. But the things that I took away from the film were so much more powerful than those moments of just like idleness. Because there's a lot of idling in this movie. There's a lot of like lingering and meandering and just kind of sitting there.
Beautiful shots and lots of self-indulgence.
And this is what self-indulgence is a great word, because this is what I put in my review. I said that it's a thing that you can both love and loathe at the same time because of how much you can appreciate. You can love it for how much that there is to appreciate, but you can loathe it for how long he requires that you appreciate it. Right? Like, there's just so many...
Yeah. Quick question. Is it spiritual at all?
That's a great question.
That's a great question. So this is a challenging thing because...
No. I mean, tangibly, as a human, do you feel it's spiritual?
I feel like answering that would spoil the ending.
No, it wouldn't, because it's a yes or no question.
I think that if you give...
Here's my thing about this movie is that nothing Thomas is saying is wrong.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it.
Yeah, he did.
Right. Have you seen Uncle Booney Who Can Call Us Past Lives?
Yeah.
Would you say that that's a spiritual film?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you also say that of Memoria?
It's just hard to say that because if you...
The thing about Memoria is that I didn't like watching it.
Yeah.
But I also have thought about it several times in the days since I've seen it, and that's not nothing.
Right.
That's my experience with Booney. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't rate it poorly, but I didn't enjoy the process of watching it or process.
Memoria is overlong, and it's basically demanding that you sit with some feelings for a very long time that either you will connect with incredibly deeply, or you'll be like, what the fuck?
There is the best alien vampires act.
There is, yeah, that's true. Yes, because that's Tilda Swinton for sure. She has that kind of presence about her, which works in a lot of her roles.
And then, I mean, there's a whole sequence where she just meets up with a guy in a small town, and he dies for like 4 minutes.
4 minutes, and the camera just
sits points at him
and
for
watches
those 4
him
minutes.
dead, like for a single shot for the entire however long 4 minutes or whatever.
Is it acting or a real dead body?
I'm pretty sure it's acting. Like
it must be acting because the guy literally, while he's on camera, he just lies down and stops breathing, and the camera points at him for the entire time until he wakes up, and he basically goes, "Oh, that was interesting."
Yeah, it is a fascinating experience. I think that's ultimately what I felt about it. Is like it's such an experience.
Experience is the word.
Yeah,
for sure.
And whether that experience is good for you or not really is going to be subjected to how much you how much you actually take away from it. Because you can get to the end, even the ending, and again, I don't want to spoil it, but even the ending can be head scratching.
That's my call to go to my movie.
Right. So anyway, Memoria, that was great. Both me and Matt have reviews up on our websites in non-spoiler things, so you can read those. But
I will say that I didn't enjoy watching it in the moment. I don't regret having seen it.
Yeah, that's true.
Similar, I guess, to the way that you felt about Uncle Bunny. In that, like, it's not I didn't find it to be an easy film to watch, and at the end, I was like, what am I supposed to take from this?
Yeah.
But the result, though, is that over the past several days, I have been thinking about what should I have taken from this? What did I take from this? And again, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
So it is it's an experience. I hate this kind of cliche BS, but it's as much an experience as it is a movie. It's at least interesting.
And I thought it was phenomenal. I would love to watch it again.
And it is very pretty. It's very pretty.
Yep. So, I mean, you could very easily take like an hour off of this movie. What was it, 2 hours and 15 minutes? Is that how long it was?
It was either 20 minutes long or 4 hours long. I'm not really 100% clear.
You could probably take an hour and a half off this movie and get the same.
I will tell you that in a normal movie, the end of the film would have been the end of the first act.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Just to give you an idea what the structure's like.
Yep.
It's really
You have to be
weird.
very, very patient with it. But anyway, you have a movie to get to, but before we go, how can people find your stuff?
Great question. You could go to drinkinthemovies.com and then go to that About page, and that'll tell you everything you want to know, if you want to know anything at all.
Matt, how can people find your content?
Pretty much the same deal. Just go to awesomefriday.ca. Most of it's just in the sidebar on the main page.
Yep. And you can find my stuff on moviesforreel.net. ForReel spelled FORREEL. We're on social media at moviesforreel.net. At moviesforreel as well. So, gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me, and I am so happy we were able to do this in person.
Me too.
Pretty awesome.
Let's make it a yearly occasion.
A yearly occasion?
I agree.
I'm down for that. We will plan to stay up here. Yes. Until next time, everyone, keep it for real.